Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gat, your host. Now, a viewer contacted me. They had their natal chart analyzed and they had a lot of questions about past life, karma, karmic debt, karmic assignment. All this is on a person's natal chart. Now, I know out here on YouTube, they basically turned it into bubblegum astrology, where a lot of people they're looking at this from a strictly feeling standpoint. And what happens with that is when you just go strictly with feelings and you don't really understand. We're going to be talking about a lot of belief systems. Well, one is karmic, one is karma. Okay, you're here in karmic debt, and you came here with a twin soul, which is still your soul, but in a different person. And a lot of times, you guys have a karmic assignment together, which means if you have a karmic assignment together, you may be popping up in each other's lifetime and time frame. But it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. You might not get along. But then you also have people that are in your soul tribe or soul family or soul mate. Now all that means is you all came from the same soul, but it's not a twin soul. The belief is you can only have one twin soul, but you can have a whole lot of soul, family, soul, tribe, soul connections, and some of those might even make you feel way better than your twin does. In fact, your twin soul might hurt your feelings. You guys might really hurt each other. Now, there's a gentleman out here named Rich Loop. And again, I'm strongly advising people to take notes. Again, because this is not just about feelings, and this is why people have it backwards, and why I'm going to show you why that's not going to help them in the long run. His name is Rich Loop, R-I-C-H space L-O-O-P. He has 2 videos on his channel as of this date. Right now it's April 10th, 2017. Jupiter has just gone retrograde. Saturn recently entered into the South Node, which I'll be explaining all of this. Now, he had a video on, he said twin flames, and he said the Matrix game. And he really explained that because the experience he had with his twin was quite similar to the experience I had with mine. And as he said, it comes when you're thrown off guard. Like this is why I'm saying you have to realize that when you know Mechalesi, you got to go back to old school Mechalesi. See, in 2012, she was selling it like it was. I don't think it was too many other channels on YouTube that could match the insider knowledge she was given. But after that now, 2019, she's more like talking about a boyfriend. She's out there with that guy. But now they're talking about like just stuff that really is really minor. But that's more like for the YouTube crowd. You know, it's not really the real stuff. It's like you got the real stuff that really answers your questions. You just might not like the answer. But then you got the bubblegum pop stuff that's all about love and dating and finance and all that, all this low stuff that everybody's interested in. Because they want to touch it, see it, feel it, experience it. Which is nothing wrong with none of that. But you got to have your priorities right. So, I don't know if it's going to be 1 week, 2 week. I don't know if it's going to be 1 part, 2 part. But at first, I want to explain a lot of this. All right. So that was what he did. Now remember, I said today is April 10th, 2019. So they said on 5 days ago, he did Twin Flames, Karma, the Matrix game. Now Mechalesi, old school Mechalesi, around 2012, she called it quarantine. She back then she didn't call it Matrix. If you want to learn a lot, it would be old school Mechalesi, and you can find her channel. In fact, I'll look it up real quick. That's why I said have pen and pad. This is the real deal. We're going far beyond bubblegum astrology because this is what really matters. See, me, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to all these bubblegum people that are just going with their feelings and just want to stay in sensuality. Because even when you say, let's just say you do believe in Messiah, you believe Jesus Christ was the Messiah. Even he taught you, don't be so fleshly. You got to be spirit. So you'll have people going love and light, or if they're Christian, they'll say all the right words. I think namastasi, one of them words, namaste, whatever they say. They got all these catchphrases, but if you're not living what that means, it's not going to help you to where all this is going. Now, what I'm trying to teach is where all this is going. Okay, so we gave you that one. And then a week ago, he gave one called Leo. They Won't Quit Bugging You. April 2019. Now, his name is Rich Loop. R-I-C-H space L-O-P. And when you just hit your space bar, R-I-C-H, hit your space bar, L-O-P. Now, he said a lot of stuff in those informations, especially one on the Matrix, but he said a lot of stuff going on. And now we'll see Mechalesi. All right. M-A-K-A-L-E-S-I. That's Mechalesi. But now you want to go way, way back to the classic Mechalesi. And give me a while. I'm just trying to find. Okay, here we got it. Now this is the channel she was on. And it says 7 years ago. Like I said, classic Mechalesi. This is when she was hitting everything on point. Everything. That channel is FICUSCOMM. Again, the channel is FICUSCOMM. Channels like that, you go inside of it, open it up as much as you can. I don't even know how these new phones and things are, but like if you have a standard computer, desktop computer, whatever, you usually can open a person's channel up. But it really would be worth, for people that really want to know the truth, it will be worth making sure you can open up all her channels and watch her videos, because she goes verbatim and she tells you a lot about what we're in, why we're here. But it goes on and goes on. Like when you're done with her, if you do your part, you won't be so confused. Because even when she first came out, she really didn't talk all that love stuff she's talking now. I mean, she came out, boom, 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 and she said she told some real, like, believe it or not, she actually advised men on how to be careful with certain women. And this is coming from a female. But that's because back then she was enlightened. No disrespect to her now. She can do whatever she wants to. But this Mechalesi is not the genius she was back in 2012. And I really mean that with all due respect. But she really was giving advice that's going to matter. Because the bubblegum astrology, remember what the scriptures teach you. You got the truth, say a Moses or a Jesus. And then you got a devil that waters it down. But it waters it down. Now the Bible says that the ultimate final resting place, and they won't be resting, but the ultimate place of anybody who doesn't get away from the bubblegum stuff, the touchy-feely, that's all I want to know. I don't care about none of that other stuff. But the Bible says they end up eternal damnation. And you've been watered down not to believe that. But it's a lot of stuff you don't know. Just like if you go to another good website. Now her name is Sekhmet. S-E-K-H-M-E-T. Sekhmet. And you could even put like Nibiru there. S-E-K-H-M-E-T. Spacebar. Nibiru. Now, she tells you that this country that's called America is actually Egypt, or has some type of connection to Egypt. And she's not the only one saying it. But not only did she say it, she went on to prove it on her channel. Again, you go to these channels, open it up. Like I said, this is where technology can be dangerous. Like if you can't open up a person's channel on your phone, then you need to get yourself a laptop or get yourself a desktop or a computer to open this stuff up, so that you can look at everything that's on the channel. But she shows you. And just to say, when you take out your dollar bill, you got the evil eye or the third eye looking back at you, and you got the pyramid. So if your country's not affiliated with ancient Egypt, why are you putting Egyptian pyramids on your money? So this is stuff to wake you up. And that's why I say, if you're listening, you understand what I'm telling you. People are being dumbed down. Like when a devil tempted this Messiah, he said, listen, you don't have to go to no cross. You don't have to go through all this struggle. I can give you all the kingdoms of the world right now, but you don't have to worship me. The same thing they say to all these rappers and entertainers and stuff like that. Oh, you want to be somebody? Well, first you're going to take an oath to me. You're going to sell your soul to me, and then we're going to do all this perverted sexual stuff to you. And then the more you dig, the more you study that, the more you find out they do all kind of stuff, even with poor innocent children. RFG Chosen One talks a lot about that. Paul Bagley used to talk about it till he started losing money talking about it, so he stopped talking about it. But his wife was very adamant about it. But again, when it wasn't good for business, he stopped talking about it. So if there is just amount of evil going on, you understand? If there really is this amount of evil going on, then maybe they're not lying about hell. See, these are the things I'd be studying, stuff like that. See, even the Egyptians knew how important it was to know about the afterlife too. Now, again, nobody's telling you to be boring and bored out and weirdo, but find out really what's going on. Like they say, oh, the earth is flat. Oh, no, the earth is round. Like, to some degree, we may be in something where that's true in both ways. Because what we have and we call science, it's limited. It's all kind of stuff going on with interdimensions and people walking in and out. So you've seen TV shows where they said a house was allegedly haunted. So they cut on a camera and just put it in the hallway and left it there. And all of a sudden you saw this little nymph or something run into your reality and then disappear out of your reality. And I've seen that with my own eyes. Because in my neighborhood, it's a lot of weird stuff. You'll see something come right out of a dimension into yours and right out of it again. And you see this stuff on YouTube too. So-called UFOs appear. Where did it go? Didn't fly off. It just like it went into a different dimension. So this stuff is real. So that's why I said that's where we need to be, not on bubblegum astrology. Because what happens, those people, again, when you study scriptures, you got people just like these people that sell out everything. Sell out their soul, sell out everything just to be famous. And then they take all that stuff they sold their soul out to and put it all in their music and put it so that then when you're watching it, then you're inviting that stuff into your house and into your lives. So if this stuff isn't real, if this stuff isn't hell, then what is it? But people are so deceived or so obsessed with this life that they don't want to talk about it. And that's how they deal with it. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. It's like, yeah, you need to talk about it because you don't want to be burning in hell forever. You don't want to be damned forever. But they'd rather not talk about it. Somehow they've tricked themselves to believe that if they don't think about it, they don't have to worry about it. And that's the biggest mistake they can make. So, whether you say you're from a Christian perspective, hell, or from like a Eastern or Hindu perspective, they say karma. So then what's karma? Well, because you were a mean person in the past life, Now you're going to be born in a family where you're abused or beat up, or you're going to be put in a situation where you have to endure mean because you did mean in a previous life. But again, that's still telling you that we're all going to be held accountable for our actions. So whether you're calling it karma or hell, there's still a judgment for our actions. You can't just do what the freak you want to. And anybody that thinks they can, you best believe they're on a road to whatever that judgment is. That's the road they're on. So that's why when you get your natal chart helps you see these things. And this is why when a Messiah was born, they used his star or his natal chart to know exactly where he would be born and what he would do. He would die a young life. He would die a sacrificial death. And allegedly, if you believe, he would save the people from their sins. See, because once you get on the truth, now you can begin to build your foundation on the truth. But as long as you stay misled or following some bullcrap or somebody's theology or all this nonsense, then you'll always be in the wilderness of wondering. And I really believe that when you study the Bible and it says the people were in the wilderness for 40 years or whatever, that's really what that's alluding to. People that just can't get the truth. Now, in Moses' time, he represented the then revealed truth from God. But the people didn't really want Moses' truth. What did they keep saying? We want the riches of Egypt. We want to go back to Egypt. Even though we were slaves in Egypt, at least we got to eat. They started making something that was horrible good. Because they didn't want to be out in no wilderness situation putting their trust in God. See, that's what I try to tell you. Even when you go into churches, you see the same thing. They all go Jesus, God, blah, blah, blah. But as long as they can live a materialistic life. But when you study the writings, they're supposed to live a spiritual life. So these are fake, phony frauds. Just like you see out here with the bubblegum astrology. And they don't think they have to pay for that. But when you study the scriptures constantly, you're being told you have to pay. The Quran starts off talking about the day of fire. The final day of Earth's existence. When everything goes up in fire. RFG Chosen One tells you 2 suns or something are going to burn down. Malachi chapter 4 talks about, this is the last chapter of the Old Testament. Malachi chapter 4 talks about the sun of righteousness, S-U-N, like a sun showing up and burning all the stuff. So this day of fire has always been, it's all through the scriptures. So when you're wise, you focus on those truths and bring your life in harmony with that. When you're unwise, you keep following, where's love? What about love? What about love? Blah, blah, blah. See, the whole twin flame phenomenon, that's something higher sciences. Metaphysical awakenings. It's not just a love story. And when people can remember that, although it's very hard, they won't get so hurt when it doesn't go the way they want it to go. Oh, we have these great feelings towards one another. Oh, all these strange things keep bringing us together. Oh, but why can't we make it work? We can't even talk. Why? And you're looking at it as a love story, which is why you're allowing yourself to be hurt by it so much. So no matter where you go, people tend to believe for every action, there will be a response. When you know that, you attempt to hold yourself in regard, knowing that I just can't do what I want to. Just like when you saw with Mechalesi. Around 2012, she was single. She was just giving a lot of good information. When she did meet the gentleman she's with now, they did the show together for the most part. And they did that for a while. But in other words, what I'm trying to tell you is she didn't run around. Like, she wasn't an average female dating everybody every time, Dick and Harry and Sherry too. Why? Because we had to pay for actions, whether we believe it or not. And there's no way you can be awake if you're not aware of that.
So I wanted.
So that's why I said for her. No, but I'm not calling it a transformation. It was a demotation. The stuff she talks about now compared to that shit she was on in 2012. But she definitely, I put her in the same category I do somebody like the 13th Son. These were master teachers. They was on some shit that, wow, they really showed you where you're really at in the world you're in. But like I said, the reason why some of these people chased the 13th Son off YouTube, because these people want to stay dumbed down. But then when the judgment comes, they all going to be crying, saying, oh, show me mercy. And ain't going to be no mercy, because you were given the opportunity to wise up and you didn't want it. Now, you might want to write this down. I'm on her friend's channel. It's his channel. Well, what I want you to write down first, though, is this, because he's talking about this. Well, it says Osirian files. Now, I don't know. Maybe I thought I got that mixed up with something. Because there's another person I hear called Waspy or something. He says a lot of stuff. Just give me a minute. So he said ancient Egyptians did not build this. The Osirian and lost ancient technology. But they said the Osirian of Egypt. They spell it a different way. But now I got this off of Mechalesi French, his channel. And if you want to know where his channel is, once you go to Mechalesi's channel, it's right there. If you hit your home button or whatever, it'll take you and you can click right on it. So this is my first time hearing about that. So I never even heard about it to now, but I see Bobby Hemmett talked about it too. This is my first time ever hearing about Osirian. So I'm going to listen to this. And then the guy Rastafari Sabbatical, he also was talking about this, and he's connecting it to Haile Selassie. So I'll probably listen to that. See, that's why I love what I do. Because as much as I teach, a great teacher will be a greater student. But this is the stuff you need to be on. Because like I said, you don't understand. Just like the Apostle Paul tried to tell you. When you sleep around like that, all that's on that person is now on you. So if that person got all this bad karma and all that shit, and you sleeping with them, that's on you. And the stuff is so trifling that these people don't stay together. That's what makes it so effed up. I can see if you met somebody and you both tried to make it work, but nowadays they're sleeping around like animals, just like the 13th son said. They hated his ass and they chased his ass up out of here. And he was like one of the greatest master teachers in modern times. That's DA13THSUN. So they want to be dumbed down on this all animalistic craziness, but then when that judgment comes, that day of fire, then they're gonna be begging. And this is why I told you, the Messiah told you in Matthew 7 that the people that are in righteousness, they're on a narrow road. So usually if they're out here on YouTube, their views are gonna be small. They're not gonna be on a broad road with all these large views and all this large support. Because those people don't want it. They want to live like animals. They want to do what they want to when they want to. They don't want nobody telling them nothing. And that's why these type of people lie. They'll make up a fake Jesus, make up a fake church, fake Bible, or they'll walk around with the Bible and act like they're not obeying it. And as long as they can do whatever they want, like when you see somebody like married 3, 4, 5 times, but call themselves, and a lot of these men be like Christian pastors and stuff. Like now you know you're not supposed to do that. And because people are not spiritual, they justify it. But you can't justify it when you're spiritual. You know what the word says, you're out of harmony with it. You're supposed to repent, bring your life back in harmony with the word of God, but these people don't. And then they all, birds of a feather flock together. So they all hang out with the same people, act like them. And that's why when a person who really wants to obey God comes through, they immediately find a reason to attack that person. And in your Bible, you see that's like Joseph. They immediately attacked Joseph to get rid of him. Did the same thing to Jesus Christ. Or somebody like Moses. Moses had to leave the area because some of his own people were ratting him out even though he tried to help them. He tried to use his authority to help them, and they still betrayed him and ratted him out and made him a fugitive. So you got to know this stuff because this is real life. Because as you start to wake up and your frequency starts to change and all that, you gonna have people around you don't want you around because they're gonna tell. Like I said, some of these people I'm talking about, you could be sitting your way, minding your own business, but your frequency is so much higher that animals will come around. Birds will start coming around you. Animals will come around you because they can tell you're not on the same low destructive frequency of most of the people on this planet. In some cases, things you're seeing start going wrong. Why? Because you're making enemies, because you're waking up. And if you start waking up, you're going to start talking to somebody, they're going to start waking up. So the people that put you in this matrix or this quarantine, as classic Mechalesi used to call it, this stuff is very real. And if you want more proof, go to Nania and listen to her TI videos, where she's telling you the same thing. She's constantly being watched, constantly being harassed. But why? Because Nania has brought a lot of information that has woke people up. So the purpose of this, what we're doing right now, is just doing our best to wake up whoever is listening before we go in. And I was looking for that other gentleman. All right. So give me a moment. All right, so I'm still just looking around. See, he had his channel, then they had a channel they did together, but he was always on her channel a lot. Didn't she has her third channel? But before that channel, she has a channel, the old school her. All right, so we're going to talk about two other things before we get up out of here, as far as this is concerned, just part of it. Now, for people that are listening really to the universe, not just going to the universe and ripping the universe off, and then using catchphrases like love and light, namaste, whatever they say, and all other catchphrases they use. Now, that's you have a different outlook. See, the universe is working with you. What a lot of people don't realize is they think the universe ain't working with them. See, I've learned it's been numerous times when the universe is going out of its way to put me and a female together for whatever reason. Because there's temptation too. That's why I said a lot of people sleep on scriptures, but they're lazy. They don't really want to study it. They don't want to grow with spirit. They just want quick answers. And when they can't get it, they sell out because these people have no backbone. And that's why some idiot will come out here on YouTube talking stupid and have all these people following them when all they doing is talking crazy talk. But when you really, see, I've been walking with scriptures and stuff like that for decades. You know how powerful it is. That's why I'm still around, and my contemporaries, most of them are dead. I just had a situation I got hit with last night because the devil let us in some bad news. So you got to learn how to pray and then let it go. And by the grace of God, that was handled this morning. And what was a big issue last night is no longer that big of an issue now. But that's because you learn how to, what the Bible says, walk in spirit. So I have a video on walk in spirit as well on the spiritual channel. Basically, you don't go through no mediums. Any building you go through, any people you go through, most of those people have made God, the Bible, and spirituality in their image. See, God comes first. It's not in an image. And if a person is really a pastor, he knows to sit his ass down because his main concern is to teach people about God. This is why I lose so much money out here, because I'm not out here marketing. I'm not out here worrying about your green and white. I'm trying to wake people up because I know there's going to be hell to pay for those who stay down. Because whether you believe in hell or not, you're going to astrology, getting all this information. Well, what are you giving back other than paying a person that's doing your reading? What are you giving back to the universe? But you're coming to the universe and taking all this information, either benefiting by it or not, but you're still going to be held accountable. When you're really one with the universe, it works that way. It's everything in this universe is give and take. Rain comes down, makes water, causes trees to grow, they grow, then they start sending oxygen out, plus all that stuff that came down to water them trees somehow goes back up. It's almost like recycled. It's like it's a continued cycle. And you got humans that breathe, they breathe from the tree and breathe stuff, and then they breathe out and somebody benefits from that. Everything works together. Like everything is still one, although this current power that's ruling this planet is so corrupt, it's destroyed a lot of stuff, especially these people's minds. To the point they don't want to be intellectual. They don't want to think about it. They just want to feel it. So the point I'm trying to make is when a person is awake, That's what happened. Somehow there was a connection between Michelesi and that gentleman, and they've had that connection now for a period of time. But what happens is when people don't have that maturity or they don't trust in the universe, they're never going to be happy. And that's why they go from person to person. And that's why I'm trying to tell you, that's why no matter how many times somebody comes out here on YouTube with a new twin flame video, you best believe thousands and thousands of people are going to watch it. Even though it's like, it's already like hundreds and hundreds of twin flame videos out here. So what is that person really going to say that's going to be that much different from anybody else saying it? But that's called what you call a idolatry. That's obsession. And the truth of the matter was, somehow the universe gave the opportunity for Michelesi and that gentleman to meet or connect or however they did it. And they both understood that. So they didn't come with the typical childish behavior where somebody is reaching out to you but you're pushing them away or some crazy stuff. Or like I said, somebody told me I'm playing hard to get. How are you going to be offended that you didn't get got when you're the one who was playing hard to get? But this is the level these people are on. And then they think, like I heard somebody say, oh, it doesn't matter if you sleep around. Yeah, it does matter if you sleep around, because that's why you have children being born. And then these same people are the ones that say, I don't want it. Okay, so if you didn't want it, why didn't you practice some form of contraception? Now you just want to kill a life, but I guess you think you're not going to be held accountable for that either. So if you're listening, you see where I'm going with this. These people have been misled by evil, and they think that there's not going to be repercussions for this stuff. But obviously it is. And nowadays, with online, it's easy to hear testimonies of people connected to health, to have testimonies of people going to certain parts of planet Earth where all this heat and lava is coming up. And as they get close, they smell all this like horrible. Or they hear all these voices or hear all this noise and they don't know what that is. So it's just foolish when people say, oh, I don't want to think about that. But they'll think about anything that's degrading, self-destructive, you name it, they'll think about it. But anything that means repenting, getting your vibrations up, dealing with truth, all of a sudden they play dumb. So that's why I said you have to question yourself and ask yourself, you're either going to have a spirit of righteousness, which will be the presence of a righteous universe, or you're going to have a spirit of darkness, or, and when I'm using the term darkness in the term of evil, even like spiritual, possibly possession, or spiritual, something's influencing that person. And like I said, it could be difficult at times because some of these people may look like they're happy and they're really smart and bright. But that's not going to be the determining picture. The determining mark is, where is all that going? Just like anywhere else in life, you want to know where it's going. You get in the car, you don't just sit there. Generally, you want to know, where's the car going. Even if somebody say, hey, we're just going to cruise around and goof off. But at least you have some type of whatever. So like I said, even though she more or less kind of watered things down now, the Mecca, let's say 2019 is definitely not the one at 2012. But at least her channel's still there until somebody tries to take it down or whatever. Her other videos are still there. Because just because you stop talking about something doesn't mean, doesn't negate it. And anything that's telling you you can be free and there is going to be no repercussion and, oh, it doesn't matter, it's your body, you could do whatever you want with it. That's the same garbage he was speaking in the Garden of Eden. Or you don't have to worry about the authority. You could be your own authority. But you saw what happened in the Garden of Eden. So the point of this long discussion is that it does matter. That's the first and foremost thing. Now, let's just say you do begin to wake up. Now you may be tempted, because nobody wants to be lonely. Everybody wants to be in love. But maybe now that you're maturing, you're not willing to do what you need to do to get a female's attention. But like I said, a lot of them play hard to get. There's a lot of vanity that you would have to appease or whatever. But you might wake up and say, you know what? I'm not really with that no more. Now that might make it harder to connect. Because she's used to somebody, going to play that game or whatever else. And you even see it in nature. But you may decide, nah, that's not really good. It's not a good way to start off with a person because you're starting off playing games already. And you know how there's a high level of divorce, high level of separation. So that's why I said you want somebody that's more mature, that realizes, and that's how it gets difficult. Because your twin flame, your soulmate, might not be there. And the truth of the matter is they might not be there now, they might not be there in this life. And that's what Rich Loop was talking about. So no matter how powerful it is, because a lot of people think, well, this is my twin and we'll work it out. And I read the 7 stages of twin flames and ultimately we will be together. And that might be true. But that might not be for 20 years from now. Like, it's different. Or it may never happen in this life. So that's where it gets. But when a person brings himself more in harmony with what the universe actually teaches, it's the stability that comes with that you're not going to have when you look into the world to determine your happiness. Because let's say like an older person, say an older person, you done seen all your friends die because of AIDS, or they got involved with the fast money and that took them out one way or another. Or they're in a relationship that ain't really as happy as it could be. Then you have to also understand there's people of prophecy. So now these people of prophecy, they were basically put into servitude for 400 years, and now in 2019 those people are about to come out. But now those people have a special relationship with God. So they have a different connect with God. And they're still a covenant people. That's why your Bible gives you the Old Testament. That would be those people. Those people have been in captivity for 400 years. Just like Genesis 15 said they would be. But they're about to come out. So they don't have the same God's not gonna do them the way he does others because they already been in captivity. They've been treated worse than second class citizens. They've had a rough 400 years in captivity. So it's almost like when he pulled them out of Egypt. When he pulled them out of Egypt, he didn't say, okay, I want y'all to line up and I'm gonna punish y'all for this or that. Same thing with when he pulled them out of Babylon. It was more like pulling them together to organize them and bring them back under his law. But it wasn't like, I'm going to punish you. And a lot of them dudes have foreign wives, but God did demand that they get rid of them. I think that's in your scriptures. So, all that stuff was written just like it tells you it was. It was written to learn from. But they would be held to a different, because they already been in captivity. So they've already been in hell on earth. But then you have people that do say they're Christians, but they don't obey the Messiah. So in John 15:10-15, he said, if you don't obey me, you don't love me. And that's the same thing that the Old Testament God said at Exodus 20, verse 5-6. So the point I'm trying to make is it's a lot of people that are this fake stuff. And they ultimately have to be careful. And the reason why they're not is because when you look around, you say, well, everybody does it. You know, I wasn't ready. Boom, boom, boom. I just can't do this. It's other things I want to do with my life. I don't want to be held down by no kid. And you see, like I said, sometimes instead of getting mad, you gotta study the people who came up with all of this stuff. Like this, some of these people go all the way back to before Hitler. There's a lady that taught all this stuff. Like she was deep into like the unknown and stuff. And even dudes like Aleister Crowley. All this stuff is easy to find online if you want it. But these people just don't care. But if you're following something by somebody who was an avid worshiper of the devil, and you're following their theology, where the hell do you think you're going? Literally. When you're following teachings that come from people that outwardly worship the devil. So these people don't care about that. But what I'm trying to tell you is the same thing with anything. When you're using astrology for the wrong reason. And that obsessiveness that you see out here, where people are worshiping the whole twin flame phenomenon, they're worshiping it. Now, like I said, me personally, just like my spiritual walk, you gotta learn how to trust God. Meaning, if the universe is bringing you something your way, but it ain't working out, you gotta act accordingly. And the truth of the matter is, like I keep saying with Mechalesi, it was two people that felt a certain way, and they've been together since, for the most part. And that's generally how it's supposed to be. So in other words, if you're reaching out to somebody and they're really playing hard to get, or they're not really connecting, then how much attention can you give that situation, and how much attention can you give that person? Because if you really understand what's called universal balance, then spirit is always in control. And the moment you try to put yourself in a position of spirit of God, then with the scriptures, that would be like a sin. And not a whole lot of good is going to come out of that. All right. So, again, with this, you see a lot of strange stuff. But if you're being honest, there's strange stuff all over on this planet, the history of this planet. So that's why when you get involved with the whole soulmate or twin soul stuff, it's going to be strange stuff, strange circumstances, synchronicity, numerology, seeing the same thing, hearing the same thing, dreams. It all comes in, but a person's got to be able to realize that's part of your walk on this planet. But that shouldn't dictate your life. And you also shouldn't give a whole lot of attention to it, because it's something that's coming this way or going that way. Because that's another reason why a lot of people find themselves committing immorality, committing adultery, because of stuff like this. It's never going to stop. So that's an aspect of being on this planet as well. Just like if you study your Bible, God gave you David and Bathsheba. But see, David and Bathsheba was the ultimate twin flame situation. Because he was asleep, a righteous king. He was asleep, and he woke up, couldn't get back to sleep. Then he got an idea in his head to go up top, guess to look at the stars or whatever. But again, that's a reference to twin flames. And then while he was up there looking at stars or whatever, he saw Bathsheba allegedly preparing to take a bath, whatever she was doing, and she was nude. And from the moment he saw her, he knew he had to have her no matter what. And so he went off to take a married woman, had sex with her while she was on a period, which also was against the law given to them by God. Adultery was against the law given to them by God. Then he covered the whole thing up, and then he had her husband killed. So that's what happens. And then from that point on, his relationship with God was never the same. And God told him, you're going to have a lot of family problems with your own children, and I'm not going to help you. And what was unique about David was, unlike Moses, because when Moses and God had a falling out, Moses kept begging God to be merciful and forgive him or whatever, or lessen the punishment. And God had to tell Moses to shut up. Don't talk to me about it again. But David never did. David just took it like a soldier. He never begged God to, lighten it up and all that. And he had a heart. Like, he had to leave his kingdom, I think, at least once. I think maybe twice. But he had to leave his kingdom at least twice, because one time his own son tried to kill him. He had problems with his head of military. His kids had problems. One of his sons killed the other one. The same son that killed the other son was the same son that eventually tried to kill David, his own father. So that was hell to pay, because of, this is what I'm trying to tell y'all, because of that whole twin flame, twin soul shit. And see, I'm like a vet. I've been serving God for decades. I done seen it come and seen it go. So I know. But out here on YouTube, this is some it's like the people in the asylum are running it and shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's a fast money game. But most of these people would rather pay money to hear what they want to hear than to hear the truth. But they don't understand, if you're not falling in line with what I'm saying, there will come a time that's called judgment. Now, from the scriptures, that will be hellfire for anybody out of harmony with this guy to put it all down. But even if you say, all right, well, that's not true, but you still see karma, karmic debts and stuff like that. See, the whole point of having the stars and guides and all that is to help you bring your life back in harmony with the stars in your natal chart. And that's how they found Messiah. But nowhere in the scriptures do you see him acting out of harmony with what his calling was. Even when Peter said, listen, forget all that stuff you're talking about. You don't have to go to Jerusalem and die. You don't have to be crucified. And then that's when he told Peter immediately, get behind me, Satan. Like, you're not going to stop me from my calling. And now, whether you all know it or not, in the skies even now, in outer space, they still talk about this Messiah in the stars. And how he'll come and kill the dragon and all that. So this is stuff you should be checking out. Because that's where you're going. That's what's going to determine everything. That's what you want to bring your life in harmony with. Anything else is not going to suffice that reality that I just spoke. For the most part, anything else is a distraction. Even if it does feel good at the time. So that should always be a person's agenda, to bring their life in harmony with what God would have them do. That's the real purpose of astrology. Now, anybody telling you astrology is evil, that's because they're not talking in harmony with God's purpose. That's what I mean by bubblegum astrology, and using it to benefit yourself, but not trying to find out what is my purpose, what would God have me do, stuff like that. Where should I be with my life? That's the correct way of astrology. And I'm going to say it again, it does work itself out. But it just may not happen the way you would like it to. But that's why sometimes you have no choice. The scriptures say, wait on the Lord. Take it to the Lord, wait on the Lord. And even then, people are not perfect. But the situation where people are jumping into it, and then trying to jump out of whatever they're trying to do. Or I'm sleeping with that person, sleeping with that person, and sleeping with this person. I'm sleeping with my twin. We had a falling out. Now I sleep with my soulmate. And then this is a person also a soulmate. And some people tell you that, well, each of those people are teaching you a lesson. But like I said, we got to be honest. You and I both know that if you're having sex and you let everything go natural, it's a chance you're going to get somebody pregnant. So no way you can tell me sex is just supposed to be something two people do to enjoy each other. The purpose of sex is exactly what it is. It is to create life. So when you decide not to create life, now you're going against the creator or whoever put that in motion. And again, there's a way to do everything. Because I know right away, as soon as I say something, there'll be people trying to argue with it. But that's a fact. That's like coming to a gym, a boxing gym, and you see somebody in the ring with his gloves on and everything, but you think he's not there to box. He's just in the ring for no reason. Until you get up in the ring and get knocked out, and then you realize why he was there. The same way. Everything is suited for rebirth, not just for pleasure. So remember, main concern is trying to find out, what does karma actually mean and how serious is it? Is there a hell? Do we have any type of proof? Let me find out about that. That would be stuff I'd be looking into, because that's where you're going. Because me being on the planet for past 4 decades, I can tell you this. Everything's going to come, everything's going to go. You're going to meet somebody that makes you feel a certain way, maybe on Monday, depending on how it goes. By Wednesday, you two might not even like each other. You may not even talk again. And if you're lucky and it goes for a little bit, even then, it may not go. Very rarely are you going to meet somebody that's going to say, hey, they really want to put that work in. I want to be with you and boom, boom, boom. Let's make it work. That's very rarely that's going to happen. And the sad thing about this planet is, any guy out there that's ever been single, you'll know how it is. You're single, you can't find anybody to want to be with you. You get one girlfriend. Now all of a sudden, all those females that wanted nothing to do with you, now all of a sudden they're all trying to get your attention. So why is our planet like that? It's almost like it's designed. It's designed to put you in a negative or anti-God frame of mind. And that's why your Bible starts off with Genesis chapter 3. There's a reason for everything. But that's why I said, as a person following spirit, you're going to try to do what spirit says, trusting in spirit to fulfill whatever needs you have. Take your complaints to spirit. But don't try to do it yourself. Work it out, because you're going to go further away from spirit, and there will come a time when you're going to have to answer for your actions. So again, whether they call it karma or they call it hell, that's what you should be aware of. And therefore, when you get readings and things like that, you'll always have that in the back of your head. Because I'm going to say it again, everybody likes to have sex. It's married people that if they can get away with it, they're going to cheat on the person they're married to. Everybody likes to have sex. So that whole thing, using astrology just to get somebody in your life, get some sex or whatever you're doing, that might not be the best way to do it. When you use astrology, you want to be mindful of the person who gave you astrology, and you want to make sure you're using his science the way he gave it to you. And again, to better understand, do your research. Now, once you get to the level that you understand that spirit or God is in control, you don't have to waste your time thinking about a whole lot of stuff. Again, it's a lot of information out here on YouTube that if you get connected, it's like you're in a never-ending drama that's never going to stop, and you're getting further away from spirituality, because now you believe in everything that comes out on YouTube. So you got to find your place. Am I obeying God, and how am I moving forward? Now, what if you say, well, I want a family? Okay, nothing wrong with that at all. But again, we just gave some advice. Take that to God. You can work on that. But the one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to have somebody in your life that's basically trying to get you to forget about God, and they're trying to sit on his throne, because that's not going to work out well. So it almost slows things down. You have to talk more. And again, like a dude like me, I'm deep involved with what you see me do. So if you ever saw me sitting next to anybody, they'd have to be deep into it too. Because we would never meet. We would never mix. And that's why I said Mechalesi was fortunate enough to find somebody that was already teaching like she was. So it was easy for them to connect. But I do believe that if you're obeying spirit, and that's what you really want, that spirit will help you find that connect, however he does it. And when you really believe, that's how you got to get. Like I said, I was way too tired to even worry. When I got that bad news, I was like, wow. And but I did what I could. You know what I'm saying? Prayed, asked some people to pray, and fell out. And then I was able to get up this morning and make the phone call and stay on hold for a while and then deal with it. But I give glory to God. So these are things I just know. Use it for the right reason. Don't use it for the shortcuts. For anybody you sleep with, whatever energy or spirits they got on them will now become on you. This is why Apostle Paul said, when you commit fornication with a woman, you're sinning against your own body. This is what he said. And if you notice in the Bible, God compares disloyalty to him to adultery and fornicating. A lot of times when God calls somebody a harlot or a whore, he ain't even talking about a woman. He's talking about some people that were supposed to be religiously connected to him in spiritual marriage that have been disobedient. So you want to get this universal information and move on. And that's why I said, you might lose a lot of money doing it God's way, but you're rock steady. And all these other people, they're going to go into the unwanted pregnancies, the abortions, the diseases, and all the other stuff that comes with that. And also, the scriptures say that a fool and his money is quickly parted. So when you're using a fake, phony astrologer or whatever, and they're just marketing this stuff, they could care less about you. They're going to keep on telling you whatever you want to hear to keep on getting green and white. And then that might not even be the truth anyway. Like I said, that whole twin flame phenomenon, I went through it, so I can already tell you I'm an expert with it. Sometimes your twin comes for a different reason. Doesn't always come to be with you. But I'm way more metaphysical. Like I was, my whole background was spiritual, but my life was just going downhill, downhill, downhill. Because like I said, it was spirituality without application. Just going by what I learned from some religion somewhere. But my twin flame made me push and ask these questions to where I'm at now. And I actually, by talking about it, I actually got blessed because of it. So now I know. That's why I gave you the Walk in the Spirit video. Get to know God first. That's personal between you and God. Don't go through a religion. Don't go through a building. Don't go through a people. Not saying you can't do that eventually, but you initially should learn how to walk in the Spirit yourself to where you know God hears you. Because that's why I said I was able to do that. Now, old me would have threw a fit. I probably would have almost had a heart attack because I would have started panicking. Wow, that kind of money? I ain't got that kind of money. Where am I going to get that money from? And I would have worried about it. I was like, man, I'm too tired. I don't care. Whatever happens. And I just fell asleep. Prayed and fell asleep because I was exhausted. But that's only from years and years of seeing God get me out of situations or help me through a situation. So that's as far as I can go with that. And that's why I said a lot of times you don't get it if you're just listening. Sometimes you got to take notes. You got to do research. You got to look it up. But again, like I said, in the long run, a person like me is just more stable. So I'm not going to be on a bubblegum astrology. And all I have to do, if I have to meet somebody that's on that level, and then she and I would probably have a way better relationship because we're not going to be taking each other through a whole bunch of immature bubblegum bullshit. You know, you're with somebody, let's try to make this work. Let's try to talk about it. Let's try to compromise. But we do have a commitment towards each other as well as the spirit. And we're not going to try to deliberately mess it up. And plus, I don't want no bad karma in my life because my actions are going to be judged. Whether we like that word or not. Even people with the tarot card. Why do you think Gabriel's standing there? What's that, tarot card number 20? You got Gabriel with the trumpet, the judgment card. And then when you do astrology, they gave you 12 houses. Well, the 12th and final house is about spirituality. Meeting that Messiah. The Pisces. The fish. Those are all symbolisms for Jesus Christ. And that's the house of reckoning. So even astrology tells you you're going to pay for your actions. There are karmic debts. There's energy that you sent out that was bad, and that energy is going to come back one way or another. All right, so that concludes this, and I probably will just use it as part 1. Now, part 2, we'll go back into his chart, and we'll begin to show the applications. It'll be a 2-chart video, and we'll begin to show the applications of what I said in this video.